a third video for you. His first news story is about EU's financial support to Ethiopian government. EU withheld financial assistance to Ethiopia last year after the start of Tigray conflict. But it seems that this financial assistance is about to resume. Reportedly, European Union requested a special briefing from Ethiopian government about Ethiopian government's efforts to resolve Tigray conflict, and yesterday Demeke Mekonnen, Deputy Prime Minister and Ethiopian Foreign Minister, delivered this briefing. What happened there? Are EU ambassadors satisfied? And could there be resumption of financial assistance to Ethiopia from the EU? Second news story is about Ethiopian Islamic Affairs Council, which split into two groups a few days ago. A new group emerged. Now, one group has issued a statement today. Thirdly, Oromia region of Ethiopia, its president Shimelis Abdisa has pardoned thousands of prisoners. Lastly, we have a new story from Tigray. A few days ago, Tigray showed 4 POWs. Tigray claimed that the 4 POWs were Eritrean soldiers, and they were involved in atrocities against Tigrayans in Tigray. They entered Tigray. Later, evidence emerged about 2 of the 4 POWs that the evidence was shared by Eritrean government, pro-Eritrean government news sources. The evidence was shared that they were not Eritrean army soldiers. Especially evidence was shared about one POW, Samre Gebrevot. And now Tigray TV today shared more information about this POW, Samre Gebrevot. Firstly, viewers, EU, US withheld financial assistance to Ethiopia over Tigray conflict last year. When Tigray war broke out, the financial assistance to Ethiopian government was withheld. US has partially resumed its financial assistance through US aid, through US State Department. US has resumed its support to Ethiopian government. But EU is considering resumption of financial assistance to Ethiopia, and reportedly EU requested a special briefing from Ethiopian government about Ethiopian government's actions to resolve Tigray conflict. The briefing was held yesterday. Demeke Mekonnen, Deputy Prime Minister and Ethiopian Foreign Minister, briefed EU ambassadors. All 27 EU ambassadors took part in the briefing. And before this briefing, if you remember, Demeke Mekonnen visited Afar region, did 2 videos on that. He was there in Afar in connection with yesterday's briefing. He wanted to gather some information, and there, while he was in Afar, he claimed that some aid agencies were involved in attempts to transport unauthorized material into Tigray through Afar. So he was there to gather, to collect some intelligence about this upcoming briefing, which was yesterday. He briefed EU ambassadors yesterday. What did he say? He talked about humanitarian aid resumption to Tigray. Secondly, he talked about Ethiopian government's peace efforts to resolve the conflict peacefully. And thirdly, he talked about accountability, that Ethiopian government has taken action against those involved in human rights abuses in Tigray. He started by saying that Ethiopian government released prisoners, TPLF leaders. Then the government announced humanitarian truce. And after that, government stepped up aid delivery to Tigray. But Tigray is not reciprocating, it's making preparations for another round of war. Then he shared details about humanitarian aid, how many trucks have arrived in Tigray. He talked about peace efforts as well, that government is committed to resolve the issue peacefully. Government is part of African Union backed mediation efforts, and government fully supports Obasanjo-led African Union mediation to resolve this crisis. And then he talked about accountability, that he shared some numbers that government has taken action against some soldiers who were involved in human rights abuses and other stuff in Tigray. The briefing was meant to convince the EU that government is doing its best to resolve the issue peacefully, and Ethiopian government is not preparing for another war. It is trying to resolve the conflict peacefully, and it is not keeping Tigray under siege. Have EU ambassadors been convinced? We don't know, but it seems that EU is in the mood to resume its aid to Ethiopia. EU was providing last year around 100 million US dollars to Ethiopia, but then this aid was stopped. Now it seems that after this briefing we could see resumption of financial assistance to Ethiopia from the EU. Secondly, EU has its influence over financial institutions as well, especially IMF and others. So if Ethiopia wants loans, grants from international institutions, for this purpose as well, Ethiopia needs to convince EU that it will not spend the aid, the assistance, the loans on purchase of weapons. Rather, it is sincerely making efforts to resolve the conflict in Tigray peacefully. Briefing has been given. It seems that EU ambassadors, diplomatic sources say that the ambassadors seemed convinced. So we could see resumption of some financial assistance, some loans from IMF, other financial institutions to Ethiopia in coming days. Second news story is about Ethiopian Islamic Affairs Supreme Council, top Ethiopian Muslim body, which represents Muslims living in Ethiopia. The body has split into two groups. It was being led by Mufti Haji Umar Idris. Then a general assembly with participation of several leaders, office bearers of this organization was held in Sheraton Hotel, Addis Ababa, a few days ago. The general assembly chose Haji Ibrahim Tofa, who is from Oromia region, as interim chairman of the council, and Mufti Haji Umar Idris, who is from Amhara region, was removed. Then Haji Umar Idris supporters accused Ethiopian government that it was behind the change in leadership, because Haji Ibrahim Tofa is from Oromia. That government was backing new Islamic Affairs Supreme Council President because he is from Oromia region. Still, there are two groups, one led by Mufti Haji Umar Idris, who is in control of this organization's main office in Addis Ababa. Today, this group issued a statement. Mufti Haji Umar Idris group says that Mufti Haji Umar is still the president of Ethiopian Islamic Affairs Council, and selection of Haji Ibrahim Tofa is illegal, though we have seen statements from regional Islamic Affairs Supreme units from Amhara region as well, from Oromia too, in support of Haji Ibrahim Tofa. But Haji Ismail Idris has refused to accept Ibrahim Tofa as new president of the council, so split is still there. The third news story is from Oromia region of Ethiopia, viewers. Shimalis Abdisa, president of Oromia region, has pardoned thousands of prisoners who were in Oromia region's prisons. According to a statement from Oromia regional government, 3,673 prisoners have been pardoned. 254 are female and 3,419 are male prisoners. They were serving long prison terms and an amnesty board was formed which analyzed their cases, and these 3,673 prisoners were recommended by this board to Shimalis Abdisa, who has pardoned them. Those prisoners who are involved in rape cases and theft, they have not been pardoned. Question only is, has political prisoners been pardoned to the OLF members, OFC members? Are they included in this number, 3,673? It's not clear, but what has been announced by the government is that these persons serving long prison terms have been pardoned, and their criminal record, their behavior in police custody, in prison was also taken into account. Then decision was made. Interestingly, viewers, in Amhara region, within the past 1 month, more than 4,000 have been put in prison. In Oromia, around 4,000 have been pardoned. Amhara region will have to correct its direction. I think Oromia region largely undisturbed by the war in Tigray, though it has its own problems, like OLA has been waging an armed struggle for years. Overall, Oromia region's security apparatus is unharmed. Tigray conflict did not have any impact on this region's security bodies, this region's security forces. A large region, largest ethnic group in Ethiopia. It seems that Oromia's future is bright when it comes to influence in Ethiopia. Lastly, viewers, last news story is about Eritrean prisoners of war. Tigray government, Tigray TV a few days ago showed 4 prisoners. It claimed that the 4 were members of Eritrean Defense Force and they entered Tigray, but in confrontation with Tigray forces, they were captured by Tigray forces. They were shown on Tigray TV, and some of them confessed that they were involved in human rights abuses in Tigray. Then we saw reports from pro-Eritrean government news sources who shared evidence about 2 POWs that they were not members of Eritrean Defense Force, they were civilians, and allegedly Tigray forces abducted them from a village on Tigray-Eritrea border, and they were shown as members of EDF. One of the prisoners was Samre Gebrehivot. His brother, Samre Gebrehivot's brother, Kefle Gebrehivot, appeared on a news channel, who is his brother, I think, is from Germany, and there he claimed that Samre Gebrehivot was mentally challenged and he was exempt from military training as well. So that is why he never remained part of Eritrean Defense Force. Today, Tigray TV once again showed Samre Gebrehivot, and Tigray TV further claimed through the prisoner of war himself, Samre Gebrehivot, that he is a member of Eritrean Defense Force. We have a clip for you. What did Samre Gebrehivot say? He said that he was from 31st Division of Eritrean Defense Force, 31st Division, 2nd Brigade, and he was recruited in 2019. He was recruited in Kurmuna, which is in Eritrea. Now, can you say that it's new evidence? Tigray TV has just shown Semre Gebrevot. Whatever is being told to Semre Gebrevot, he'll say. That is why this evidence cannot be trusted. In two previous videos, I proposed that these POWs 4 should be handed over to some international independent body for their verification that they are members of Eritrean Defense Force or not, but they have not been handed over to anybody. They're still in custody of Tigray government. Watch this clip shared by Tigray TV today, showing Semre Gebrevot talking about his division, his area where he was recruited, and his brigade. Thank you for watching.
وابو تغتشعن حسر جعتن كرمنا تعلم كله سيدا ساخ تقتل ما يدلها حجتي تعالى في خمسة ابقول نخا خوين سدريكا يزكا مالتي مر اسغا ولا حنت خابا خان دحدي تري تعالى في خاري عقو تلي ولا حنت سخسوي سو خونو دنقش كا خوي تقتلون طلع كنت عدهم طلع خذوا حج السؤال